box to box, anchor, leader, press resistant. Declan Rice isn't just having an amazing season, but he's redefining what it means to be a complete midfielder in 2025. But how did we get here? And why is he the blueprint for the modern day engine room? Let's break it down tactically, statistically, and narratively.
The journey of Arsenal's Declan Rice is a classic example of tactical transformation. When it was at West Ham, it was the traditional number 6, drops between centre halves, win second balls, screen the back line, just do the dirty job. He was simple, he was effective, and he was a bit limited, or so we thought. He didn't exude the aura that you would want from a midfield enforcer or someone who had a skill set where he could beat men, drop his shoulder, or score the kinds of free kick we saw him score against Real Madrid just this past week. He wasn't that kind of player when he was at West Ham. He wasn't. Some might say the writing was always on the wall, but for people who really watched Declan Rice at West Ham, he wasn't that kind of player, and it wasn't really obvious that he would become this kind of player. But what happened to Declan Rice? How did he evolve into the midfield enforcer that he has become today, playing on the left side usually of Arsenal's 3-man midfield alongside Thomas Partey and Martin Odegaard, and has been, I believe in my opinion, the best player for Arsenal this season? How did he become that player? So in this video, we're going to be looking at the stats. We're going to be looking at, we'll be taking a look at some clips and be looking at what Declan Rice does, what has he added to his game, and why is he so effective right now, and how has he become one of, if not the best midfielder in the world currently. Now, when you look at his heat map at West Ham United, it shows a lot of touches and action at the base of the midfield, but not so much action in the final third. Now, at Arsenal, he's getting more and more involved in the action at the top end of the pitch. So, taking a look at that heat map now, that is what you can see on your screen right now. You see that the heat map at West Ham United shows that he was so much involved in, the play, in the build-up. He was holding possession at the base of the midfield, not really venturing so much into the final third. But at Arsenal, like I mentioned earlier, he's playing more often on the left side of the midfield 3, and he's getting much more involved in the attacking play. He's knitting play together, he's putting passes together, and of course, there's another stat that draws the attention to how much Declan Rice has improved on that front. At West Ham United, all of his 6 first-team seasons, he averaged 0.6 key passes per game. But at Arsenal this season, Declan Rice is averaging 1.7 key passes per game, which puts him in the 86th percentile among midfielders in the top 5 European leagues. That is his highest ever, average key passes per 90, and it shows that he has truly become a player that creates chances consistently for his teammates, which is not the kind of player that he was before. While Declan Rice was at West Ham as a young and upcoming midfielder, he developed the discipline of playing the midfield position. He learned, the not too eye-catching parts of the game. On the ball, he wasn't extraordinary. He was just a little better than competent. But over the years, like I mentioned earlier, he has evolved, and at Arsenal, he has unleashed. He's no longer just a shield that guards the realms of the defense, for those of you GOT fans. But he's now a carrier, he's a midfield enforcer, he's a vertical passer, he runs late into the box, and he's an orchestrator in transition. And like I'm going to mention later on, he's such a key player in the counter press of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Let's get into it. One of the first things you look out for in a central midfielder is ball winning and defensive IQ. Now, not all midfielders are going to be the Makelele or the N'Golo Kante. Not all midfielders will be that, but there should be a level of defensive IQ. There should be a level of defensive awareness that every central midfielder must have. You should know how to occupy the right positions, know how to screen the defense, at least if you find yourself in that position. And Declan Rice has always had that. Like I said earlier, that was one of the first things that he honed in his craft. But it's not just the volume, it's not just how many tackles he makes, it's not just how many interceptions he makes. It's the timing of those tackles and interceptions. He reads triggers early. He shuts out passing lanes and delays counters like a veteran chess player. And you see, what he does is so important to Arsenal because it's the reason why Arsenal, even though they can be so expansive in their possession play when they want to, even though sometimes they just decide to park the bus, but let's leave that. when they want to be expansive in their possession play, like they were against Real Madrid, they were. And bearing in mind that Real Madrid are one of the best counter-attacking sides in Europe, and they had such potent counter-attacking threats like Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Junior. But Arsenal were so confident in their counter press that they were able to still push up and be very expansive in their possession. And they were very confident. One of the major reasons they are that confident in their counter press is because of Declan Rice. How well, he reads the game, how well he reads triggers, shutting down passing lane and delaying counter attack. He's very good at that. And like I said, Arsenal has one of the best counter press in Europe, as seen, of course, in the game against Real Madrid. And when they lose the ball, the speed at which they close their opponents to win it back is impressive. And Declan Rice is at the heart of that. Usually, he initiates the counter press with his, trademark tenacity and ensures that the ball is won back quickly. Or in the worst case scenario, he delays the counter attack to ensure that before, the opponents get into their final third, the defense is already set and ready to move. Another thing you look out for in a central midfielder is his press resistance. What is the midfielder's press resistance? How well, carry the ball. And listen, even right from when Declan Rice was at West Ham, he has showed that he was good. He was okay at his ball carrying. He was good at his progressive carries, and he like many other aspects to his game over the years, he has gotten even better at carrying the ball. His ability to carry the ball is brilliant. I believe one of the best, if not the best in Europe, carrying the ball under pressure, breaking the first line of the press. It's brilliant. According to FBref, his progressive carries per 90 is in the 96th percentile in the top 5 European leagues. I mean, that is elite. That's truly elite. Another thing you will look at is his vertical passing, or what I call it, chance creation. Like I mentioned, he has a lot more key passes than he used to do, and he's not, like some of his critics might say, he's not a sideways merchant. He doesn't just pass the ball to the sides all the time and give it to other players to progress the ball. His pass selection is very proactive. And now, the reason why many people think he is not that kind of player who plays vertical passes, especially in build-up phase, is because he is not usually tasked with bringing the ball out from the back at Arsenal. So usually he positions himself behind the first line of press, and then when he receives the ball, he constantly shows the ability to find the killer pass. Like we said earlier, he's averaging almost 2 key passes per game, which is the highest it has ever been in his career. Now, his stats in terms of key passes is also helped by his impeccable set-piece deliveries. So he has shown that he can find the killer pass. He can create chances. I've talked about his progressive carries. He can carry the ball into the final third and then find the killer pass or shoot himself. He has grown into that complete midfielder that is now celebrated all across the world. And another thing you will look out for in a central midfielder is his box arrival. Now he's adding goals to his game. Declan Rice is becoming more and more prolific. He's adding goals, late arrivals, ghosting defenders, just, entering into the box unannounced and then banging a shot into the top corner or into the bottom corner. One of his best goals this season was the goal against Manchester United. It was a brilliant goal, the goal against Manchester United at Old Trafford, where, United were leading 1-0 and then Arsenal were kind of under the cosh, and then he just came out of nowhere, bang, top corner. That is classic Declan Rice. And when you look at this goal, it is how he enters into the box unannounced. Now, you would want to blame Manchester United's defense for not picking up his run quickly enough. But he got into the box and then he received the pass. And without force, bang, with his right foot into the top corner. That is a brilliant finish. That is a striker's finish, let alone something you see from a midfielder. There are so many similar goals that he has scored like that this season. He's adding goals to his game. He's becoming more prolific. And of course, his set pieces, William Saliba was saying after the 2 free kick goals he scored against Real Madrid that he had never seen him shoot like that in training and all of that. But when you look at how he has evolved from when he was at West Ham, it was obvious that he had been working on his set pieces. It's obvious that he had been getting better at his free kicks. And then look, what we saw against Real Madrid was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. One of the best free kicks I've personally seen, in the Champions League. One of the best. I'm not saying it's the best because I know many Arsenal fans went overboard saying it's the best, but it's not the best. But it's one of the best. There's been amazing free kicks over the years in the Champions League. And now there's the stuff you can't really graph. His leadership, his composure, the way he has become a vocal general in the dressing room, and we're talking about a dressing room that's full of personalities. We're looking at the likes of Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey, even the likes of Alexander Zinchenko. These are personalities. The likes of Gabriel, the likes of Saliba. These are personalities in the dressing room. But Declan Rice has risen up to the occasion and has become a true general in that dressing room. Even in the England setup, he is also one of the key men that they look up to in that setup. He has become a leader. Mikel Arteta did not just buy a midfielder for 100 million. He bought a mentality. Declan Rice is not just a footballer. He is a true mentality monster. And that's one of the most impressive things about him, is how he rises up to the occasion. When his team needs him, he is able to come out and truly make himself count. That's the hallmark of a true great player. Declan Rice has truly moved from being that player that wasn't so flashy, wasn't so viral, just the effective, steady Eddie, consistent, just steady growth every week. He has now become the spine of Arsenal's midfield. He has become one of the best midfielders in the world. He has become the standard for what a modern midfielder should look like. And he has now started adding the flashy parts to his game, the viral parts to his game. We see now that I can't but mention the free kick against Real Madrid the other day, because it was just truly world class. He has become a true great of the game. And at 26 years of age, he has only just entered his prime. I think it will be scary to see what Declan Rice will become if he continues to grow at this pace, because truly we've seen a consistent growth from the time he was at West Ham up until now. And if he continues at this rate, it's going to be scary to see what Declan Rice could become, considering he's just 26 years. So what do you think? Do you think Declan Rice is the most complete midfielder right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're new, make sure to like the video, do well to subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified when there's new content on the channel, because we go deep on football every week. So do well to like, subscribe and hit the notifications bell. My name is Goodness Easy. This is the Football Slides TV. See you next time. Bye.